Hello and welcome to another episode of the O3 Dropcast. My name is Craig, aka Poopy, and I'm joined today by my two wonderful co-hosts. Let's start with Brice. Brice, how are you?
Hey there, Poopy. I'm doing good. I have a new camera angle. If you couldn't tell, it was getting a little weird just looking like this all the times.
I-
As I move away from my microphone to do that, um, we're
I'm
good at
also
this.
noticing quite a few Overwatch Funkos over there. You still
I
playing?
did.
Is the game still alive?
I don't know. I haven't played in a while. I started like I'm not a huge like Funko boy, but I did enjoy getting the Overwatch characters and like their OG skins. We've been talking about going back and playing a little Overwatch too. It's certainly doing better than Concord. Say that for sure.
Yeah. If I can play the heroes for free, I would do it in a heartbeat. Paywalling heroes is the only thing that's keeping me out of playing that game. Much like
Yeah.
keeping heroes at the majestic rarity, but we don't have time for that today.
Too much important
And
stuff.
also with me today, we have Smithel. Hey, Smithel.
Hey, Craig, I am Smithel and I enjoy books, unlike some people.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
This is a very special episode, an emergency episode. An emergency episode 24 hours
Wee,
after the
wee.
emergency.
We
So obviously,
we were all crying too hard last night to actually record anything.
this is our episode where we are going to be talking about the September 2nd banned and restricted announcement. We have a lot to say about that, a lot to get into. But before we do, we want to take a quick moment to say we will be in Tampa for the Rosetta pre-release. Or no, I'm sorry, Rosetta premiere.
Premiere.
The
The
Rosetta
pre-release,
premiere.
pre-release.
Yeah. If you see us, come say hi. Chris might even have a little something for you. We've got some goodies that we'll be walking around with, and we'd love to meet anyone who's watching our videos. It means a lot to us that you are, and so please, if you are going to be in Tampa this weekend and you see us, approach us, say hello. We would love that. Um,
Is it safe to say that we'll either be in a Green Tree jersey or our shirts that were made for us?
yeah, we will be wearing shirts. What Brice is referring to specifically is we have O3 drop shirts. And I think there's a pretty good chance we'll be either in that or our Green Tree, Smash with Green Tree jerseys.
hmm
You'll also be able to spot the reflection off of my shiny domed head. And that is a good sign that
Pshing.
you can find one or more of us there. Um, you guys want to say anything specifically about Tampa? What are you looking forward to? How you're feeling?
Well, me and Chris are on the same plane. I don't know if we got seats next to each other yet.
That
But
that's
we'll
what
at least
Bryce
be
is
on the
not
same
looking
plane.
forward to.
Yeah. I heard he takes his shoes off on airplanes.
hmm And play with
So
the
Oh,
hair of the people in front of me.
yeah.
All the creepy things.
I was gonna say it's sociopathic, and then you said play with their hair with people in front of you, and I was like, no,
That's
that
worse.
really is wrong, Chris. Like
Yeah, I think that's
taking your
I've
worse.
shoes
actually
off.
seen somebody do that on a plane before, and I was really creeped out.
Oh my god, taking your shoes off, a little impolite. Just playing with a stranger's hair, rude,
hmm
very inappropriate.
Agreed.
Um,
Yeah.
Agreed.
that's why I got rid of mine. Good luck,
Yeah.
strangers.
No, but Tampa should be a good time. I mean, I know this is I think all of our first the world premiere events.
Yes.
So I mean, uh, apart from the calling and the actual world premiere, I'm really considering doing full box sealed just to do it.
Hmm.
I've never done
That
full box
sounds
sealed.
dope. That sounds awesome.
Do you guys want to do the team sealed?
I won't be there Sunday, or I would. I'd
Oh,
100% do
you're
that.
leaving early. That's right. That's
Yeah, I
right.
got an early flight.
I think I have plans for the team sealed. I think I already am on a team. But
There's like it's actually kind of a pain if you've ever
yeah,
done one. It's
yeah,
It's a lot.
I've done one. But okay, let's get into the main topic here, which is going to
yes.
be the banned and restricted announcement that James White himself wrote, and
Jimmy
this
Blanco.
is a return to some design principles that were possibly more present in early Flesh and Blood, and
hmm
it is I would say uh, uh it's it, it is trimming some areas in which they got away from those design principles.
hmm
It's not implementing new ones, it's just noticing that certain card designs fall outside of the design principles. Those being, and I will read them for you now: start full, reduce variance, every card counts, reward good decisions, not good luck. And some of the big ones uh, that came into contention were reward good decision making, not good luck, and reduced variance. Um, there was a lot that James had to say about these design principles that I found very enlightening. And the end result of this ban and restricted announcement is a sweeping ban, including Art of War, Cashin,
Mhm.
Orahan of Mystic Tenets, Tome of Aetherwind, Tome of Divinity, Tome of Fyendel, and Tome of Firebrand. So this is sort of the massive book burning that we have here. We also saw a complete ban of Bonds of Ancestry, which is obviously to curb the power of Zen, who in just 2 weeks LL'd from the Blitz format, which is a speedrunning record.
Mhm.
And it also is restricted in Living Legend, also to target Zen. Um, I think I just before we get too into the weeds of any one card, where do you guys sit 24 hours later? I not I'm not interested right now in your immediate response to this, but now that it's sat with you for a moment, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I am very okay with it, especially after letting it sit and understanding what was going on. The one thing that I did appreciate in James White's, very long article and very well written. So if those people haven't seen it yet, go ahead and read it. Is he started off by saying this was supposed to be part of the October ban that was coming out, but they felt like they wanted to put this out before Rosetta so that people didn't necessarily go out and buy cards to build decks with where they think the heroes could be with all of these cards in existence, but instead rather said, this is the game plan that we have going forward. We want you all to go to the world premiere and pre release and everything like that fully aware of where this game is heading so that you can make these kind of informed decisions on deck building and what cards you need. And I thought that was very, very cool of him to do.
I think
So,
that's a very new player focused like thing. It helps all players, right? We don't want to be buying Art of War for $30 if it's not going to be playable. But I think I think specifically they mentioned this will be some people's first time playing the game.
mhm,
And I really love that they have that foresight, because I think an often argument that people have against bans and restrictions in general is it limits a new player's ability to engage with competitive play. I think I personally don't agree with that. I think anyone who's engaging with competitive play can very quickly catch up on what is banned and restricted. I mean, even in Fabrary, our tools automatically tell us that most of the time. Um, but I thought that was a very uh, heads up play that they made for the players who are just going to be coming in for the first time for Rosetta.
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't I there was mention of that brought up in a previous announcement, I believe, as far as like accessibility for new players, and I'm walking into my first armory not knowing what's banned and restricted. I think most people who are going to be interested in a TCG understand the concept of a banned and restricted list and are probably it's right there. It's right on the website. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's not hidden information. It's very publicly available. And if you genuinely were like a brand new player, just like coming into their first armory and saying like, here's this deck I went and bought, and you had something that was banned in it, um, I don't think players are gonna be like, "Oh, no, it's okay, you can still play that card." It's just like someone's gonna have something to replace that
Hmm.
in your deck, you know what I mean? It's not like a showstopper for somebody walking into, at the armory level, so that is kind of like a weird justification to me to say like, oh, it's because it makes it easier for new players. It's all public information.
Most
Um,
cards can be replaced with a humble or a yellow sink below. No
something,
one's
yeah.
playing a yellow sink below, but
Yellow
I
sinks.
mean,
We just talked
just
about blue sinks last week. It's
yeah.
yeah, they're out there. They're out there. They're doing
Um,
their best.
blue sink's on the rise with Enigma. I like the blue
That's what
sink
I
below.
said.
I
That's what
like
I
the
said.
blue sink below. But
Yeah.
so the way that I'm feeling about this is a very anticlimactic and possibly just bad content. I'm sort of not feeling anything about this. This
Yeah.
is to me metas change, right? And this is an example of like a meta changing, right? Clearly, this is going to have effects, but it's
Mhm.
happening right at the same time as this release. And I run Art of War in almost all of the decks that I like to play, um, except for Riptide. Riptide didn't get hit with any of these bans, not my list. Hi, Shadow.
Nope.
Um, but yeah. So I kind of feel right now that look, this is going to change the meta, and the meta wasn't good. It was
Agreed.
not it was not healthy, and I don't think anyone could make an argument that Zen wasn't that bad or that it actually like the term that they use in this article several times to describe the kind of situations that made it so that Zen would win out of nowhere was like extreme offensive overlap. And that was how they described like good decisions. Like, let's see, the most egregious culprits are cards that immediately net additional cards without costing an action point or are playable. Blah 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 blah. Topic at hand, which are anyway.
So,
I don't want to
okay.
get lost in the article, but
You know what's funny about that though? I this might be me showing my hand and admitting that I'm an idiot, but I wonder how many people also finally got how much like thematically, oh, books give you intellect. All the books are things that draw you cards because books give you intellect. Like
yeah,
it's a pseudo all of these things you think of them as a pseudo intellect boost. So think of like um oh my gosh, why am I blanking on it? The 6 that if you hit, you get an int at the at your next
Oh,
turn.
Nourishing
uh,
Um,
Emptiness.
yeah,
nourishing emptiness, yeah. Like, these aren't the only cards that give you an additional card, right? Because they say that that's the gaining an additional card without, without having to use an action point. There are other things that give you that, but it's kinda interesting to think of all of these tomes and books and codexes as a pseudo intellect boost because you're just you normally have a 4 card hand. Guess what? I cash in and get to start with like a 6 card hand now, and
yeah.
it's just kind of I I didn't catch on to that. I'm sure some other smarter people did, but I thought that was funny.
Bryce, you just called me smarter. I knew that one. I
I'm
could tell
dumber.
you.
I didn't know
I could tell you what books do,
They
dude. I
make
know what books do. You read them, you make them learn good.
maybe I need to
Yeah,
I learned good.
and make learning good. Yeah. But that is the the through line for this ban is that this is a game of 4 or 5 card hands versus 4 or 5 card
Mhm.
hands.
Yep.
It is oppressive, unfun, and feels very bad to play against an opponent that can regularly start with 7 cards. Um, or
Even if they're not starting with that many cards, they're drawing
yeah,
off of
Mhm.
abilities and stuff, right? Like it's kind of the same deal.
and they
Mhm.
even mentioned with Tome of Divinity that Tome of Divinity in itself feels fine to them because of the restrictions that you have to get through, which is you have to pay 4, and you also have to have charged your soul. And Prism gets around that with her Vestige build. But the problem is if you just play 2 of them on the same turn, like
Yep.
Mhm.
you
Done
win.
that before. Yep.
You know,
Mhm.
you're just you're in such an incredible position from there. Um,
Imagine
so
drawing one off of a uh why am I just completely forgetting every single card? 5 dominate if it hits you draw cards. The Angel Herald
Herald of Erudition.
Erudition.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm just not remembering card names tonight, but
Yeah.
I distinctly remember that happening, hitting off in a Erudition drawing
Well,
2 divinities. Like,
it
ooh.
is one thing that I thought about was, Prism can still, like, I can easily think of a turn that draws Prism 5 cards.
Yeah.
Like, you
Mhm,
have Genesis easily 6. Like, your Halo
mhm.
draws a card. You go get your Figment that when it attacks can draw 2 cards. And you
Oops, the
swing with
jump through
a
though.
Herald that draws 2 cards, like, they're they're not totally removing card draw from the game.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
They are making it, I would say a more meaningful reward. Like
Yeah.
you've you have to earn it more.
Mhm.
Um uh
So, okay, so question, like, what do you feel about Cashin then? Because after I read the whole article and kind of said, Cashin is not currently a problem, but as gold becomes more prevalent, the cost to draw 2 cards becomes lower and lower.
Yeah.
At the onset, and even now that I've let it sunk in a little bit, I like you have to generate that unless you're like starting with Providence. Like you for
Mhm.
Kasai, you have to go through sort of, like they said, that you have to get go the quest to get that. Your quest is I have to banish 4 cards and then actually hit on an attack to get that gold. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like
Yep.
there is a build up, there is a challenge to get to that state. But I think the main point being like they literally said it's not currently a problem, but gold's gonna become more relevant. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
back
yeah.
to
Yeah.
there's something in the air there.
Yeah, I mean, it gives me a little bit of hope whenever they said it that way. And that first, maybe we'll get lucky and get like a playable merchant hero. Like I know
Mhm,
that's kind of like my like far off dream, but also the fact that I think they're taking what was the books and saying, "Hey, this is card draw." And if they are implementing more ways for multiple heroes to get gold, whether it be through generic cards, thematic cards for the class, whatever the case may be, uh, to sit there and when they sit there and say we want to reward good decisions or make every card count, understanding when do I pay for a gold to get the card draw that I need.
mhm.
I think that's more of the card draw type decisions that they're looking for, as opposed to just I'm Kano, I'm gonna fish, get a tome, draw a fish, get a tome, draw a fish, get a tome. Where while yeah, there's pitch stacking involved with that to get that combo going, there was many times you could just blindly get one play and then get lucky by the next 2 cards that you see in Kano off on turn 1 too.
I'm telling you,
Mhm.
the after Rosetta, that if Tome was in there, the days of pitch stacking Kano were gonna be gone. People were just
Yep.
gonna find what they needed. Like, I mean, y- you give that hero a whole set of new tools, and
Yep.
like, I mean, I understand how good pitch stacking is, but a lot of people would not be playing towards pitch stacking with
Mhm.
the meta being as aggressive as it was. Like, there's no way to play for a pitch stack game plan against a Zen. There's just no way.
Well,
Um,
and that's the thing. I mean, what's interesting to me about like Kano, and everybody uses that like, oh my god, Kano's dead, whatever the case may be. I don't think so. I mean, look at the effect that Kindle had on Kano, and that's just one amp one card, and it completely shifted the Kano game and what he could do and get the card draw through it. That I'm thinking as we see more amp. Kano's not going to rely as heavily on kind of pitch stacking, getting ready these tomes and getting these monster like second cycle turns. It's just going to be consistent, like high amp damage to where you think you got the combo or you think you got enough coming through with Aether Wildfire, you spit it out. So I get why Tome has to go because if not, I think Kano would have been the next Zen.
yeah, I think that I I think most of us watching the spoilers come out felt that Kano was just going to speed run to LL. I think
Hmm.
now it probably is a good thing. I would be lying if I said like I like playing against a Kano. I hate playing against a Kano.
Hmm.
Like it's not fun.
No.
But I do like the hero. I like the design of the hero, but it was just gonna be degenerate gaming. Another thing that's degenerate gaming. Let's talk a little bit about Bonds of Ancestry getting banned. A full ban. It seems to be the case that even one copy is thought of too powerful for Zen, and that I take this announcement honestly as sort of almost a total um denouncement of the Zen meta. Just saying like that is not what we want the game to look like
Yeah.
at all. We do like this to me says LSS has not liked the Mist Veil meta. Like
Hmm.
I'm not saying they're going crazy over there being like what have we done? But this just says we don't want this. We don't want it for the game. We know you don't like it. We don't like it. Um and so they're banning it completely. Um Limiting it to one copy in Living Legend format. And my theory is that that is 100% just to say that it's not banned. Just to
Hmm.
continue to say Living Legend, there's no banned cards. Not banned, just restricted. Um, but I want to hear from you guys about that because I'm a Katsu player, so I got a lot of feelings.
I don't, considering what it can enable. And I'm not a huge ninja player, but I've definitely played against enough of them to just have these like devastating. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can throw down to have some devastating turns. But when you just like look at that wall of text, that's like, oh, so you know, the only thing that it really requires was a card with Gust Wave in the last chain. You get it's free. It has go again. You can get another card with combo. You can play it in that card. It's just it. There's not a challenging setup. There's not a challenging enough setup for it to do what it rewards you with. All literally all it is just like right. And isn't there some other thing that you can just like change the name of the card, change it to something with Gust Wave? What am I thinking of?
You're
There's
thinking
a
it'd be like water.
headpiece.
Yeah.
No, it's Be Like Water changes it to Surging Strike. You're thinking of the Tiger one, Shifting Winds of the Mystic.
Mm,
Okay.
It
Okay.
allows you to name Tiger as a card. There's also the Mask of Shifting Perspectives, I believe, is the card that's more of a commoner card because ninjas do have great headpieces. But yes, that is an ability in the game.
Yeah.
So
It's just it's I think it's a, like, perfect example of what they talk about with, like, extreme offensive overlaps. Like, the
mhm,
value you get out of it for very, very little setup other than just like, "Oh, cool, I got my Gust Wave card this turn. Time to go crazy.
mhm.
Time to start this crazy chain." It's I mean, I see it from the design perspective. I have played against it enough times to know it really sucks to have, that giant turn come at you. And
mhm.
I get it. But I also like completely sympathize with people who love Zen and it hurts. It hurts to see
Mhm.
a power card like that go, but I'm hoping enough people are like, reasonable enough to say like, yeah, that was probably needed.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I think it's tough because like I don't want to sit there and say Katsu is kind of getting punished for the sins of Zen, which
Well,
clearly he kind
yeah,
of
he is.
is.
But
Yeah.
but
You know what I
kinda,
mean?
but
It's
kinda, yeah.
But
but I
the
think
LSS is saying it's also the sins of Katsu, and
yeah. I mean,
I'm over here
frankly,
being like, no,
There's
I
no sins.
nuh-uh.
I mean, as somebody that like Bryce said, that has been wrecked multiple times by Katsu, where I feel like I did everything I could, like but I'm still getting punished well beyond my blocks just because they had like one little thing in hand that went over, and now suddenly there's six other cards on the chain. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that what I believe the bonds ban is opening up, and I'm hoping that I'm right, and I'm hoping that this is a style that goes across every hero as we go into like the Fab 3.0 type of era, the post Art of War ban days, is when I sit across from a hero in a perfect game state, there should be multiple builds that hero could represent that I should have to almost take a guess at which one they're playing. Is it Axe Story? Is it Dawnblade Story? Is it Hatchet Story? I feel like cards like Bonds of Ancestry really limited deck building potential to the point of saying, well, it just makes sense to play Rainbow Bonds because why not?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, like so. What I'm hoping is, as they keep adding to give Katsu a little bit of love, we find multiple options or multiple combo paths that Katsu can take that I can say, is this a you know, combo line A or combo line B because, again, Craig, you play Katsu more than probably Brice and I combined. But I think that would be exciting and maybe draw me more to the ninja class of saying, I can lead with any combo and I have multiple lines to go from here, almost like a fighting game would
Uh-huh.
be considered, where it's like, hey, I
Yeah.
may be pressing high punch, but then is it going to be the low kick combo next? Is it going to be, an uppercut combo next? Like, what's going on? And I'm hoping that's the route Katsu takes, is really saying there's all these combo lines, but which Katsu am I playing against? Which one do I need to
Yeah.
be prepared for?
So I've been saying for a while, I was a fan of banning yellow and blue bonds as far as what it meant for the game. And I was sad to lose that deck. I am sad to lose the Dishonor deck
Yeah.
for Katsu here, but I once again think that this was good for the game. Hi, Shadow. Would you bring me a toy? Okay. Um, but I am sad to lose the Katsu deck. I I love the Dishonor deck, but it is ultimately something that I agree is an example of this extreme offensive overlap. Um, and I would say that I was a little bit disappointed at first that this was not made into a specialization. I wanted this to be okay, well, Bonds is bad in Zen, but let's give it to Katsu. I can understand why they're not doing that. This dog is really excited to see me. Sorry. Um, but I think that what Katsu needs now is something to fill this gap that is less powerful, but a hero that is based around combo having a piece taken out of its line that is the third of four is like really restrictive. That's like pretty that's a pretty
Mm-hmm.
heavy hit. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Zen, this was piece 2 of 2, you know? Uh they don't play Dishonor. They just go get any next combo card. It'd be 100 win. Doesn't matter. But Katsu, this was like 3 of 4. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I think Katsu needs now, I this is my crackpot suggestion, if you guys will indulge me.
Do it.
Bonds of Mugenshi, right? They need some sort of like way to like if it plays into Lord of Wind, like if you have something that's like it cares about a Mugenshi card being the last card, then you
Okay.
have that and you have Mugenshi release. If you care about having bonds like Dishonor, errata that to be like if it has bonds in its name, you
Mm-hmm.
can get Dishonor back into the card pool. You
Yeah.
can get some ways to because one of the greatest things about the Surging Strike line was its ability to have go again and switch lines. Like
Yeah.
it could be, surging descendant bonds, but it could be surging whelming Mugenshi. And I think that just isn't really that prevalent in the ninja class outside of that. A lot of those cards don't have go again. You cannot go twin twisters, back heel kick, spinning wheel kick because back heel kick does not have go again. You can go twin twisters, spinning wheel kick, but then if you try and back heel kick, the combo's not
Mm-hmm.
active, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
the ability to weave in and out of combos is something that Katsu needs. And
Yeah.
I feel that right now, um, maybe a necessary ban, but I mean, Katsu is he's my hospice deck right now. Like my kitty Katsu deck, uh, I don't what do you run instead of Art of War? I
Yeah.
never ran Bonds in that, but Yeah, Bonds was a huge piece of that deck, and I think a lot of people really love Katsu and see what it can be. And I think we're gonna need more than an expansion slot. We're gonna need a
Oh
mastery
yeah.
set. We're gonna need a core set. It, but it's gonna take a year at
Oh
least
yeah.
a year before Katsu is playable.
Yeah, I think Katsu's going to feel a lot like Fi does right now, where he had his moment in the sun, but now you almost never see a Fi, just because he's just not in a great spot. But
I think you
again,
will in the next 6 months once we have
I,
a
I,
new set.
I mean, they've already called out Draconic, so I mean,
Mhm.
there's something clearly in the works. So
Yeah, so that's funny. Like, what else did they call out? They mentioned like the OTK Florian.
OTK
OTK
Florian
Florian
build.
and Viscerai. They
Um,
said, yeah, the Tome of not the Arknight, but what's that one called? Yeah, Tome
yeah,
of the
yeah,
Arknight.
yeah,
Yeah,
Tome of the
yeah,
Arknight. Yeah,
That one I agree with. I don't think they need to ban that because if you
no,
yeah.
reveal two non-attacks or you reveal two attacks, you don't draw those cards. You just wasted a
Hmm.
card.
right,
I'm
right.
totally fair with that amount of variance. They call
I'm
Yeah.
out three of a kind.
What was the other one? Yeah, I was just like
Tome of Harvest, three of a
some of
kind.
some of the things
Yeah.
that they kind of
Imperial
like
Flame.
some of the
Imperial
things that
Flame,
they
I think,
kind of
should
like
have went with
snuck
this.
in. Imperial Flame? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think Tomb of Imperial Flame should have been on the list.
I think maybe what you're thinking of, Bryce, is they mention Blood Rush Bellow. And specifically in the Art of War section,
Yes.
they say like,
Yeah,
why is Blood Rush Bellow um allowed when Art of War isn't? And it's because we think there's a meaningful enough like cost associated with it.
right.
That to
Well,
me
yeah,
is, I gotta be honest, that was the only thing in this announcement that I was like, I hard disagree with that. I really don't agree. I think every Blood Rush Bellow is played with a beast with it in hand, and then my opponent has 3 cards.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Well, so like yes to that, but I was kind of getting at some of the things that maybe we can consider teasers in there for talking about like, okay, well,
Hmm.
what do you guys know that we don't know about
Yeah,
an OTK Florian, and what do you guys know about an expansion card that's coming that might help the Draconic class and stuff like that?
right. They
There are a
do mention
couple of sprinkles in there.
they're saying the Draconic card pool will grow. I think that the OTK Florian at this point has kind of been um like the other thing they mentioned was like that Acilio would have loved Tome of
Oh my
uh
god, yeah.
Tome of
Hmm.
Aetherwind.
Hmm.
But I think that like we've kind of seen where these Rosetta heroes will likely end up. I mean, Florian is definitely, it's got Mordred tied on a stick, so yeah, you can definitely think of an OTK build. Um, I don't know that we knew so much about whether or not Acilio would like Tome of Aetherwind. Um, but I do think that the big thing that they've kind of hinted at, and they've hinted at for a while, is a return to Volcor.
Yeah. I
I wonder
mean,
if that's where the gold's going to come from.
I
they've
was
been
thinking
releasing
it
the
would
Dragon
be,
Ash.
actually. I
Yeah.
was thinking like I think it'll be Volcor. I think we'll get a reprint of Kasai as is in heavy hitters.
Hmm.
I think we're just gonna get Kasai again. We'll get new Phi, new Dromai. Dromai
They
will
said,
care about those ashes.
Hmm.
well, James White's already kind of confirmed that there's a new Dromai in the works.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would make sense. So if we think thematically, the whole Dynasty set was based on like all the weapons in the Emperor's vault and things like that. Emperor's dead. If we're talking more gold, people in the vault, people doing whatever they need to do during the mass mayhem going on there. You know,
Okay,
maybe that's where we're
so
getting all the gold.
so when the emperor died, everybody went and just looted all the coffers, and now there is just
I'm,
this big influx
look,
of money, and now the economy is just ruined in Volcor. Everybody has more gold than they know what to do with. It has no
the
value
Volcor Federal
anymore.
Reserves didn't do a good job at
Oh,
mitigating this
so you
problem.
all hated trickle down economics, but
Until the emperor
as soon
dies.
as the one rich man loses his money and you get yours, all of a sudden things go to shit. This is why
Exactly.
it's a trickle and not you,
Not a
you can't
flood down.
yeah, you can't put the tap all the way on.
Look,
People got to starve a little.
see,
That's how
it's why we're
society
gonna it's
works.
why we're gonna get the merchant class. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
somebody's got to spend all that gold on something.
Yeah, Squizzy will.
I hope the
I just
merchant
want to use
class
my
is
silver palms.
I
Yeah.
hope the merchant class is just like that big dude from the new Resident Evil game. The he's like the what are you buying equivalent
Oh,
from I don't
yeah, I know you're
actually
talking about.
play the
I don't know if
Resident
he has a
Evil
name.
games.
Does
Yeah, he has a
he? Yeah,
name. I don't
I'm sure
remember
he
what
does.
it is.
Well, guys, I think we're gonna wrap up here as we are all getting ready to go to Tampa.
Kind of packed.
Yep.
Any final thoughts here, Bryce? Any from you?
I I've been seeing a lot of stuff that is looking good for Warriors. Um being able to actually, do something in the meta and not just have your fridge kind of overtaken by the insane, Zen chains. Which is why I was a little bit upset that Cashin went already because I was looking forward to like really leaning into Kasai again.
Mhm.
But I still think that's going to be fine to do. I'm hoping to see Warriors get a little bit of a better place in the meta. I want to see some top eights.
How about you, Chris?
Nothing major closing, but I do have a question for each of you. In
Mhm.
Tampa, the world premiere, are you forcing a hero or are you staying open based on what you see?
Oh no, I don't know. But here's the thing: is we're not drafting; it's sealed,
No,
right?
it's sealed. That's what I'm saying. So are you
Yeah.
forcing?
Go with the Aurora pile and just call it a day.
I think I'm forcing a silly out.
Yeah.
I think I'm
I'm,
forcing a silly out.
Yeah.
it's gonna take a lot for me not to force Verdance. It's gonna
Yeah,
take a lot for me not to
I
force
don't know.
Verdance.
But I do have one closing thought here, which is um for banned and restricted announcement that could easily be the most controversial one in my time playing Flesh and Blood. I've never felt so confident in the team leading this game.
Hmm. Yeah.
This was an announcement that gave clear reasonings based around core principles, and made its case soundly, and thought of enough edge case spoke to enough edge cases with cards that it was clear that this was not put together last week because Zen was too
Hmm.
good in Blitz, right? This was a
Yeah.
well thought out article that, even though right now it puts me as a player who plays Art of War in many decks in a position where I don't really know what I'll do, I do think the longevity of the game, like I could not be more thrilled with the hands that it's in. This was like this is how you talk to the public. This was
Hmm.
fantastic from
Yeah.
just
Hmm.
like a PR perspective. French kiss.
Yeah. Very good transparency in that stuff. It's also just kind of fun to see the behind the scenes stuff sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're not game designers where we have a lot of opinions on games and what makes games good, but like getting some of that nitty-gritty detail from the actual designers is pretty interesting just from a like, hey, that's pretty neat kind of perspective.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. It was
All
good.
right. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow in Florida.
See you
Y'all
then, man.
ready
It'll
for
be a good
some
time.
heat?
Oh,
Yeah.
a
Welcome
fat man
to
out there with heat.
Miami.
Nope, Tampa. If you're going to
Welcome
Miami,
to
you got the wrong flights.
Tampa. Oh, what? They're not close?
Craig's like, I'm just gonna walk that, right?
Yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right.
Love you. Bye
See you, everybody.
bye.